Welcome to the Intuitive Hour with psychic medium, author, and intuitive life coach, Michelle Beltran. The Intuitive Hour will empower you to learn how to magnify your intuitive voice. Listen in and expand your understanding of what it means to be psychic and how to awaken, amplify, and trust your inner voice.
So I wonder if you ever feel like there's something just beyond your everyday hustle? Meaning, underneath the errands, texts, mountains of laundry, to-dos, store runs, there's a deeper, wildly curious part of you. Let's grab a cup of tea, coffee, your favorite drink, and take a little trip together today into one of the most mysterious and honestly beautiful corners of the spiritual playground, Kundalini rising. Welcome everyone to the Intuitive Hour. We are here for another episode. Today, we're talking about Kundalini, its history, what it's all about, how it plays a role in your life, what it may feel like. All right, let's begin. And we'll start with what actually Kundalini is. All right, so picture this, if you would. You've got a party guest, a snake. That snake is snoozing quietly at the base of your spine. This isn't a runaway Indiana Jones kind of snake, by the way. It's a symbol. In the world of yoga and spiritual traditions, Kundalini is like your personal inner sparkler energy, if you will. It holds wild potential, pure creativity, and it's all bundled up. This guest, yes, to your party, it's all bundled up at the base of your spine, just waiting for a wake-up call. So when people talk about Kundalini rising, they mean that energy getting all curious and shimmying its way up your spine. You can imagine this as an energetic expressway. So as this energy guest cruises upward, it passes through your chakras. Think of your chakras now as major pit stops for this energy, though. And in that process, it's unlocking different flavors of insight, intuition. It will literally feel like magic joy along the way. It's an intense, high vibration, joyous, curious, happy energy traveling upward. And in the absolute best case scenario, your Kundalini bursts through the crown of your head chakra. You then land in a state called samadhi. That's just a big fancy word, if you will, for feeling totally at one with the universe. Or as I sometimes like to put it, every song on your playlist suddenly makes you cry happy tears of joy. You're in that happy zone. So, knowing all this wonderful goodness, why would we not want to move forward and capture this pure, powerful, positive, good energy in life? Nearly every culture has some version of powerful internal energy waking up. Yogis and tantrikas, saints, even modern souls. Carl Jung, in fact, became fascinated by Kundalini, calling it a map for growing up. Yoga teachers, musicians, spiritualists, light workers, influencers, people all over the world are waking up their Kundalini in all sorts of ways. And so if you yourself have felt, whoa, I'm suddenly seeing colors brighter, or my intuition is really on point. You notice changes in your body, in your spiritual development and growth. Perhaps you're connecting in your dream space more than ever. Well, you are not alone. This could be your Kundalini rising. So, what exactly does Kundalini rising actually feel like? Well, let me just say this. If you're picturing a lightning bolt or the sky parting with a choir of angels, well, slow that spiritual roll down. For most of us, Kundalini actually comes a bit more slow. Sometimes it's a little confusing, but let's talk about that and the exacts of this and what this actually does feel like. Okay, in the early days, maybe you're just off, but in a good way. You're feeling extra creativity, random waves of peace. You might even feel at this time an emotional kind of whiplash. No need to panic. This is just Kundalini showing itself in those early days, initially. Okay, then, the physical feels, meaning, how does this physically feel in our body? You might notice heat along your spine, possibly an unusual or odd yet pleasant buzz throughout your body or spine. Tingling, gentle shakes, goosebumps, yes, those count as well, so pay attention for that. Sometimes you might notice an involuntary sort of humming after a deep meditation. If your body seems odd with these physical sorts of feels, it's okay. You're simply clearing energy clutter and tuning into that Kundalini energy in your body and feeling it. All right, herein comes emotional feels. Okay, buckle up here a little bit, everyone. So sometimes old sadness bubbles up, or you just start sobbing at, my goodness, dog food commercials, right? The most oddest things bring emotion. Kundalini loves clearing out stuff you've stashed in the basement of your heart. Think of it that way. So you're releasing emotionally at things that you didn't before. Maybe people start saying, well, goodness, what are you really upset about? Because you can't be upset or emotional about that seemingly minor thing. But then, and here's the other part of this, bam, suddenly joy floods in and you get love bombed by the universe. So there's this releasing at these oddest emotional feeling moments triggered by unique situations not triggered by before. And then there's a flood of joy. Think back for a moment if you've experienced this. Once again, Kundalini at work. All right, superpowers, I like to call it. This is the point when colors pop gloriously, music sounds richer and more divine, deeper. You literally get what I call mega intuitive, and that intuition just speaks out loud as it never has before. Your dreams could be cognitive, meaning telling you and guiding you of the future. It may feel like a universal hug, the world just getting a lot more sparklier, if you will. One thing after another aligns wonderfully. You run into friendly strangers. You get that excellent book recommendation. You see an incredible film or performance you loved. Everything just lines up brilliantly. All right. Does this always feel good? I would love to tell you it does, but it doesn't. You will meet moments of confusion. You will even have days you might want to crawl under the covers. But it's worth it. A sacred mess, but a tender homecoming. Okay, so why bother with Kundalini? Let's look at that. What's in it for you in this Kundalini rising? Is it worth it? Well, let's talk about that. Turns out it is worth it for a number of different reasons. First and foremost, there is indeed a level of healing. I would call it a radical level of healing as you step into Kundalini rising and work with this massive energy. Kundalini can gently unpack any emotional imbalance, physical healing in your body that you might need to be stepping into. It can shed away layers of anxiety or old heartbreak, and you discover parts of yourself you forgot existed. As I mentioned earlier today, there's a very unique, wild sense of creativity, and I would call it exactly that, wild creativity. You might start writing songs, poetry, artwork, playing an instrument, writing a book. It's an incredible pocket of creativity in your life. Whatever your spark is, creatively will come forward in this Kundalini phase in your life. Be on the lookout for the awareness upgrade, meaning things that used to stress you out, create anxiety, well, they just flat out become minor. You spot patterns, you trust your gut, and feel oddly okay not having all the answers. You're just at peace and calm 24/7. And last, there is a sense that you would notice of deep belonging. Maybe it's something like, we're all in it together kind of vibe. That makes you feel safe. It gets stronger. You feel loved, less alone. There's a sense of oneness. And that sense of oneness stops being just a word. It's the whole show now, and you get it. As we wind down this episode, everyone, I'd like to leave you with this. Kundalini rising is not about being perfect or doing it all, quote, right. It's about listening for the whispers in your soul and following the energy in your body and your soul and spirit, even if it makes absolute zero sense at first. Your quirks, questions, and honest moments, even the confusion or uncertainty, they light the path, not only for yourself, but for everyone you meet. I hope this episode has inspired some curiosity about Kundalini, that you'll move forward and invite this into your life. It is powerful and can create a chapter change, an epiphany of sorts, unlike you have never felt before.
If you enjoyed this episode of The Intuitive Hour, please consider following, rating, and reviewing the podcast at Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen. You're welcome to access Michelle's free controlled remote viewing exercise that will empower you to uncover answers to your burning questions about lost objects, events, or people in the past, present, or future. Visit michellebeltran.com to access this free offering and rediscover what was once lost.